Okay.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the NetNZ Limited and the NetNZ Charitable Trust AGM for 2016, and welcome to both the members and any guests who happen to be out there listening, observing. It's lovely to have you along with us. I've got apologies from Bill Feasey and Stephen Higgs, and I'm wondering if there's any other apologies that might be coming from the members or guests. You could fire them through, please. Okay, we'll take that as read then. I'll move that the apologies be accepted. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Grant. Minutes of the previous meeting. I think they're pretty straightforward. I probably don't need to go through anything there that's striking or unusual, unless there is anything that anybody wants to bring up to point out. Anything there? No? All right. Somebody move, please, that the minutes of the AGM of 2015 be accepted.
I'll move that, Maury.
Thank you, Ken. Seconded?
Well, I think someone who was at that meeting actually seconds that if possible, but I can second it, it's just a motion. So seconded, Grant's fine.
Thank you. Any matters arising from the minutes for anybody? Probably very minor, but the comment that Darren made before is that those of us, when we're at a point where we're not speaking, it would be helpful if we muted our microphones so that the feedback and the quality of production was more enjoyable for those listening. Very, very minor. Nothing else coming out of that. Then we'll move on to the agenda. The receipt and adoption of the annual report, which has been tabled. Darren, do you want to come in quickly and just explain where that is at the moment and how people access it?
The annual report? Yeah, currently it's in our drive. It's in a public drive, part of our drive, and then we'll put it on the website after this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Through the hangout here by everyone attending, just through the chat. Although looking at it, it's not quite the right version, but that's fine.
Okay. For those others of you that aren't involved in a meeting, it is still a work in progress, so there might be some slight or minor modification to it. If I can just speak to the board chair's report, I think again it's pretty obvious, but if you haven't got it in front of you, I just wanted to acknowledge the workload, particularly of our executive team. And not wishing to overplay it, but I think one of the things as a board where we're trying to get balanced is the voluntary component of the work that goes on from our executive team versus the normal day-to-day work they've got to do, plus the innovation that they have been engaged in for quite some time. So for us as board members, that's one of the things that we're trying to keep a close eye on. But the other thing, in a similar way for ourselves, I think we, being at the bleeding edge of innovation, we also don't want to miss opportunities. So I think whilst it's a very interesting and challenging times at the moment, I think outweighed well and truly by the excitement that goes with all that. And I think even though looking in from the outside it might not look like we're a particularly mature organisation, I think over the course of the last 2 years we've come a long way in terms of that, and the examples I've listed of becoming a stronger organisation, particularly recently with the appointment of Anne and Grant who bring skills that we didn't previously have, the formation of subcommittees which enables us to be a lot more efficient and effective have been two pluses to it. And the three key strategic areas that we're looking at for the next year is sticking to our knitting. We're conscious that that is our core business. We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, so looking after our main customer base is what we want to do first of all, but we also, in order to become a better organisation, we've also got to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented. And the two that we really want to concentrate on over the course of the year are the Asian Language in Schools initiative and growing our business internationally, taking advantage of a number of people and organisations that want to take advantage of the online learning. So I think I'm confident that we've got a really capable team, a hard-working team. We're strategically placed with our ability to represent the country, and I think we've got the right people on board. So I look forward to having another exciting year, and would just like to acknowledge the work of all those people that have made it so successful to date. So thank you very much. And now, if I can ask you, Darren, to report, please, on behalf of the executive team.
Thanks, Maury. Sorry, just doing some quick edits to the final version of the report. So I'm just going to basically report back on some of the key achievements from last year, especially with regards to curriculum and learning, etc. And Ken will talk more to the operations or financial side of things. In terms of curriculum, we've really broadened to some extent what we do over the last year. Certainly bringing on more schools helps from that, but one particular area we're looking at, as mentioned by Maury, is in languages and in Asian languages. So we got Alice funding to basically put in place Korean, Japanese, and Mandarin Chinese, and they came in this year, so we're able to work in over 2015, get the proposal in, it was accepted, and get the teachers together later in the year to actually prepare for that. And that's quite significant because we see that as a foundation sort of to move forward from there in terms of Asian languages. We also, in terms of curriculum side of things, we've managed to get into some interesting areas, especially with regards to partnerships, etc. So Trevor's here, he's teaching a course that's sponsored by Datacom, so a computer science course, so that they pay for that course, but they also, more importantly, provide the support and mentoring with that course. And that had its first year last year and was successful, which was really good, and that funding has continued and that partnership has continued, and we feel that's as an important blueprint moving forward in terms of partnerships, and we could replicate that sort of partnership in other industries. So that's a key sort of objective to retain, is that idea of developing industry partnerships and others as well. And in terms of learning and teaching side of things, we also have last year made the significant shift away from video conferencing, traditional video conferencing, to the use of Google Plus Hangouts. So that means we've got a far more flexible access to courses. It means students can access the course on multiple devices. They can access from wherever they are and whenever they are, and that means in home, wherever. I mean, I've accessed from all sorts of different places, and so have my students. And that's really, really important, because that was a barrier to access in previous years, and a barrier for schools wanting to join NetNZ and organisations like it. It means we're no longer locked into one sort of device and one room, which we're always tying our hands in past years. That had its sort of little issues and technical bits and pieces to work through over last year, and that was really important. We did that. We learned a heck of a lot from it, with the view to moving into all our courses, moving to Hangouts this year. So that was largely successful last year in terms of the Hangouts, although, as I said, we had to work through various issues. And importantly, last year we got all our teachers together, physically and online. It was a big mission to actually bring all our teachers and staff and meetings, etc., together, and to get them feeling like they're part of NetNZ and not just out there doing their teaching and rather disconnected from it all. So a big part of that was the staff room, when we talked about that last year, the development of an online staff room. But last year also we had our first HUIs, our first HUIs, regional HUIs, where we got large numbers of teachers together. So we had one in Christchurch, and we had one in Dunedin as well, and they were very, very important. And one thing we're really trying to do with our the teaching and learning side of things, I suppose there's two key areas. One is to get this sort of connected pedagogy going, as in trying to get our teachers buying into an idea that online learning is about interaction, and it's about connections between learners and teachers. And that's something that's probably been missing in the past. And last year, a number of our teachers made good strides in that department. They took on board, basically started using Google Plus Communities, which is a really good platform for reinforcing that sort of approach, because it places interaction at the forefront of the whole environment. So a lot of teachers moved towards that, and a lot of teachers were putting energy into trying to connect their learners. Still a long way to go there, but that was a really good, important first step. So in terms of the teaching and learning side of things, those are probably some of the key areas. We've also been examining how we can better support learners, although that's really something, an initiative that we see developing through this year. So in terms of key points, Ken, would you want to add any bits or pieces on top of that?
No, that was very good, Darren. I think you've given a good summary of really the highlights and achievements of 2015.
Yeah, so that's about it, Murray, in terms of, unless anyone throws some questions out there later on, whoever's watching.
Thank you, Darren, and to your team. Let's move on then. Ken, would you be happy to talk about the financial report and approval of the annual financial statements?
Yes, there's two formal parts of really the annual report which we have to produce. There's a statement of service performance, which hopefully everyone has had a bit of a chance to look at. That's basically how, what we delivered and how well we delivered it. If there are questions from the board or from those watching, and there are 7 or 8 people sort of watching the stream, you can add them in the Q&A questions, and we can respond to that. It's the same with the financial report, which is the second key legal requirement that we need to sort of report on formally in our annual report. But the statement of service provision, can I assume that everyone's looked at those and there aren't any questions? If there are, put them up first. Okay, nothing's coming through. Okay, the financial report. It is there. The statement, the annual financial statements have been on the agenda, and probably people have been looking at them beforehand. There's several pages. One extra page has been added. It's one which I only just got from the accountants, a statement of cash flow. And that statement of cash flow perhaps is one of the more important documents to look at, because if you looked at the rest of the financial report, you may get quite a misleading sort of perspective of where we are financially. It does look like we've made some two quite significant sort of surpluses last year and this year, in 2014 and 2015. However, they are a lot more modest. There is an explanation for those larger figures. One, there was a one-off joining fee which all of our members paid, which provides our working capital. There were also some reserves which came across from Canternet and from OtagoNet, which also prop those up. Now, if you take those figures out of the mix, then in actual fact we have generated surpluses, but they are very, very modest. The bottom line surpluses are only just surpluses. The returns that you as members have got have been largely in the extension of services, and that extension of services does include us beginning to be able to aggregate those 0.1s which schools contribute, and go and find teachers and begin employing them. And that's exactly what we hoped would happen, that we got away from that straight, hey look, we'll put up a teacher and we'll get so many places, back to people starting to pay for extra places, us being able to aggregate that and then employ teachers. However, at the moment, I think perhaps we will need to sort of look at that balance between extending services and the surplus we generate, because we've got such limited working capital, and because we've got such limited working capital, it's really slowing what we can do. It's slowing the innovations we could be getting involved in. We just haven't got the working capital to sort of do some of the things we want to. And therefore, the board will be reviewing basically revenue flows and considering how we can generate more capital. Maury has already spoken about one of the things we're looking at this year, and that's the international market. But we will have to look at the exchange and how well that's working. We will have to look at things, external funding, for example, sponsorship and things like that. We have been talking to the ministry policy people, and we are hoping that there may be changes in the way that NetNZ funding may happen, but they are things which need to be grappled with. But I would like to formally sort of present the financial statement part of the annual account, and I guess move that they are accepted.
Okay. Do I have a seconder to accept the financials, please?
I'm happy to.
Thank you, Anne. All those in favour, just nod your heads or wave your hands, please. Yep, thank you. Moved. Any further business around the financial report and the approval of the financial statements? Okay, we'll move on then, thank you. The trustees report, that's also attached, Darren, isn't it? To the
yes,
report that you published up there? Yeah. Can I just comment that there is virtually no change to this. It's a legal requirement to publish this. But there's been no change at all from the situation, from the previous situation. So there shouldn't be any discussion around that, or discussion needed around that. But we're open to discussion if people want to. It's a legal requirement showing that there's no change in position. Okay.
Maury, just before you go on, we move for the acceptance of the annual report?
No, we didn't. Are you moving?
Yeah, I'm happy to sort of move that the annual report be accepted.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you. Is there a seconder, please?
Yes, trusted director.
Yeah. Anne, you?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. All in favour?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye. Waving hands, please. Thank you. Carried. Thanks, Ken. Specific business, agenda item number 6 is the appointment of an independent examiner, and I move that Paulson Higgs be appointed as the independent examiner for the financial year ending 31st December 2016. Do I have a seconder for that, please? Anne's nodding again. Thank you. All in favour, wave or say aye. Okay. Carried. Number 7, Ken, I might just hand back to you, even though it looks like it's a a straightforward matter. It would probably be better if you wouldn't mind doing it.
Okay. We did call for nominations by through a cycle. One of the elected directors stands down each year. This year, Maury offered to stand down, but did offer himself a re-election. There were no other nominations, and therefore, I guess, Maury, I can congratulate you or commiserate with you. But thank you for volunteering to do that again. It's quite nice that we will have some sort of continuity. But I hope next year, perhaps, school representatives do consider putting themselves forward for the position.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for your endorsement there, Ken. Motions to be put to the AGM. We have received none, so we can move on to general business, and some may come up in general business, but at this stage I have no notification of any general business, but the floor is open. Nope. Nothing here? Okay. At this stage, then, what happens if I conclude the meeting is that the trustees of the NetNZ Charitable Trust will meet following this meeting, and the decisions to discuss the decisions for approval from the AGM, and for Ken to file the annual return for the year ending 31st December 2015. So that being the case, if there's no further business, I would like to thank you all for your attendance, and hope that we might still get some feedback to the report that Darren's put up. Otherwise, I thank you again for your support and look forward to seeing you in the next AGM in a year's time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ken.